to everything we do. It's critical to the infrastructure of life. And unfortunately, we missed you all last week. We're so very sorry. We had some major tech issues happen with the internet. It happens. We're here today. So we are covering, and I believe I said this 2 weeks ago, that Leaders Are, which is a series we have been in for almost a year. And by the way, gentlemen, happy anniversary, because last week, my Facebook memories told me that that was our first ever.
Oh, I
wow,
knew
nice.
I knew it was close.
So,
Yeah.
gentlemen, thank you.
All right.
Thank you. And ironically enough, I think it speaks to today's topic because of the simple fact that actually I'm combining two, because I'm dropping one that's going to get mixed in with the Leaders Are Strong. I originally had this as two different topics, strong-willed and strong. And when I showed this list to my wife, just kind of running things by her, she looked at me, she goes, I got to be honest with you. I don't know how you split those two. I said, well, I can. But she looked at my face. She goes, you look like you're stretching for strength. And I was like, oh, terrible joke. She likes dad jokes better than I do. But that said, it speaks to the strength that we have had, because this is not easy to do. It's not. It's already, I mean, and Mike knows because he's one of our co-hosts, so he's been here. And you see the halo behind his head, not because he's an angel, because he's a saint. But because, either one. But because he has the True Man podcast. He knows what it takes to be successful in a podcast. Jim, he's a very successful publicist. He's very successful karaoke and emceeing events and hosting a website that has 5,282 on it. Okay? That takes strength. And here's the thing, the things that I just said for those two are things that, yes, they've had help. Yes, Mike has guests. Jim, has other people who are helping with the events and things like that. But the thing is, it takes at least one person to really push it through and to make sure it happens. I mean, if Mike decides not to host the True Man podcast this week, it doesn't happen. If Jim decides not to host some certain karaoke events, it doesn't happen. So it takes strength or being strong-willed to do so. And to bring the three of us together consistently for a year shows true strength, which is true leadership. And so welcome, everybody, to today's episode. We are so glad you're here. We're so grateful for all that have commented or messaged us. You are always more than welcome to hop on as a guest. All you got to do, we'll be getting the contact information at the end of this show, or episode today, excuse me. But you can always hop on with us. We'd love to share these topics with you. It's fun. It's fun. We talked about that a long time ago. Leaders are fun. So leaders are strong and strong-willed. Now, many times when I say that, and we were joking between the three of us before we went live, I should have worn one of my tighter shirts so I could do this, make it look like my arms explode through the shirt. You know, what I say, schmedium. But that's the thing. It's so much more than just that. Now, because it's three men on the show right now, I will say that a lot of times you hear a leader is strong. That's kind of the first thing, like you just immediately think about spinach and Popeye, right? Am I dating all of us by using that reference?
A little bit. Yeah.
Oh, well, I don't care. Go look it up if you don't know it. It's an amazing cartoon. Back when cartoons were wholesome and good. But anyways, we'll leave that one alone. But the thing is, what does it mean, gentlemen? And Jim, we'll kick it off with you today. What does it mean that a leader is, or leaders are, strong? What does it actually mean? Can you bench press 400 pounds? Because quite honestly, that's not a great test of strength. I'm just going to be real with everybody. I don't care what you say. So, my opinion. You may not like that. Don't care. But Jim, to you, what is it to be strong or even strong-willed? Either one. We're going to cover both today as a leader.
Well, I think when I think of strong in this regard, it's obviously not talking just about physical strength, but, it's really emotionally strong and, being able to have, I think of two words, fortitude and also fortitude and persistence. Basically, being able to be solid in what you believe and stand by and confident and resilient, being able to, withstand maybe criticism or whatever, because you have a conviction, a deep rooted conviction on what you believe. And I think of maybe a tree in the wind, if it has deep roots, that's why I would say to the emotionally being strong, then when wind comes, it doesn't have it topple over. It doesn't really have it sway as much. Stronger it is, the more balanced and the less it's affected by the winds, or that could be criticism, different opinions, you know. And you have to be flexible, but strong I view as resilient and having fortitude.
Well, and even being flexible is a strength
Oh,
quality.
absolutely. Absolutely.
No, and
Yes.
I'm agreeing with you, Jim. Just this kind of transitioning here as we get ready to switch over to Mike is, flexibility is strength, which is something even physically I'm not strong in. And I used to think it was weak. It's like, nah, I'm just here to sling iron and go run, stuff like that. I was like, oh, this is dumb, because then you hurt more. But that's just it. I love Jim's reference of a tree. The trees sway in the wind, but the ones that last are the ones with their roots just deep down. Just deep down, their branches are strong because the roots are so deep and so strong. And so, Mike, with those things in mind and your own, also your own words too, and your own thoughts on this, what does it mean for a leader to be strong to you?
Typically, I would say that it means that a leader has a combination of traits and skills that enables them to be strong. And we've talked about probably all of these at one point or another. Like just a few examples would be vision, integrity, empathy, communication. I mean, all of these things are key ingredients and more, right? The list is pretty lengthy, but they're all key ingredients to being a strong leader in life. And people will follow strong, authentic, well-meaning leaders. And so, most of these skills, they're all teachable, they're all learnable. So if you don't have one or there's a deficit in an area, you can certainly learn how to do it. And I think that's the important part of being a good leader. There's another one right there. Be a learner. Be a learner, be curious. Being curious and being a learner, they go together. I should know that because I'm writing about that right now.
Nice.
Well, and to be able to do those things, you have to have a certain amount of strength. And again, this is not about how much we can weight lift, bench pressing, squatting, anything like that. What's the strength up here? What's the strength you have mentally? What's the strength you have emotionally, spiritually, and physically? I mean, let's be honest. When you do anything of greatness, you're going to get wore down. Case in point, Mike got sick a while back. We all knew that because he told us that. And we were kicking off the first segment of Leaders Are Winners, which, by the way, we're still in that main category, but the subcategory kicked us off with goal setters. And he originally texted me. He said, "Hey, Chris, I'm not feeling good, man. I'm down and out. I'm sorry." And then, I don't know, it was like an hour later, maybe the next day, I can't remember. It was just before the show. He's like, "Never mind, screw it. I'm coming on. Yeah. I can't not be a part of this discussion. It's one of my favorite topics, one of which I know he's an expert in working with people." And so, excuse me, but the understanding here is it wasn't even just the physical strength. That took mental strength, probably even a little emotional, maybe even a little spiritual, like, hey, Jesus, get me through this and don't let me snot all over the mic, right? Gross. Hey, we've all been sick and had to do things and work, okay? But the understanding here is, I'm going to use a sports analogy with, there's no argument with the GOAT of basketball, and that is Michael Jordan. End of story, okay? You're welcome, Mike. Jim shaking his head, yes, he knows too. But the thing is I remember, I look back and people talk about his career, and, every time the Bulls went to the finals, they won. He had all the MVPs, all these things, kinds of records and stuff and everything else. What a lot of people forget about is one final series where he had the flu, like literally coming off the court. Scottie Pippen, barring picking him up off his feet, carried him off the court.
Yeah.
Carried him off the court. He was that sick, and yet scored the most points of anybody as an individual, brought the team to a win. Here's the thing in the strength. Yeah, that had to suck. I'm just going to be real with you. I've had to do things where I was sick that, were pretty extreme. Here's the thing. It wasn't just the physical strength he had to put up with. He had to go through the mental and the emotional, probably even some spiritual. I don't know if he's a believer or not, but call it what you will. But it wasn't just that strength that was noticed in that time. It's the strength of all those around him. Even though, yes, Scotty helped him off the court, the rest of the team stepped up, said, if he's willing to do this, so we can all win. That's true strength. It's not when you're just doing it for yourself. It's what are you willing to do for others? And that brings me to our next point of combining two topics in this is strong-willed. Now, this becomes more of the mental and emotional and even spiritual aspect of the things that we do. But gentlemen, when it comes to goal setting and being a winner, if you don't get your mind set correctly, which we've talked about at length in almost every topic, let alone in this Leaders Are Winners, if you don't fortify yourself as strong-willed, Jim, what could happen? You know what could really happen is he could unmute himself.
Yeah, probably come across a little better.
All right, that's pretty good. I know it's an ongoing thing. Which, no, this is great though. The whole thing is that what can really happen? You can be tossed to and fro, and the whole thing is it's hard to gain traction and strength if that happens. So I think it's really important to be grounded, and it's like anything that is loose as well. If it moves back and forth, it actually gets weaker and it can weaken it, So it's really important to be fortified and strong, because otherwise, you can get loosened and you'll eventually, topple over. You won't be able to withstand the things that are coming at you.
Yeah, exactly. And so, and I love that point. And I want to come back to where Jim originally started talking about trees. Look at the banks of a river that aren't necessarily full, which is not uncommon here in Kansas. Look at some of the strongest, thickest, tallest trees and look at the bank. You will see roots that have come out like this, angled back down and gone in. Why? Because they had the will to survive. Don't tell me there's not intelligent design out there. Don't tell me God didn't create certain things for a purpose, because those trees help keep things going around, but they went to find the water. Now, I know I'm using an analogy with a plant here, but it's the same thing for us, especially as leaders. You really want to show that example that Mike so wonderfully put together earlier of those following us, those watching us, those being inspired by us. Having strength and being strong-willed really can be two totally different concepts. I may be strong. I may be able to sit up and I don't mean puff up from like a physical stance, like, again, weightlifting, for example, or a strong athlete. I may be able to sit here and put on a facade of strength. The real time to win is when that strong-willedness kicks in. I know it's not a real word, but I'm using it. It's those who are strong-willed that win. I can be as strong as I want, but if I don't have the will and the determination to see things through all the way, as Jim was just saying, you don't really end up anywhere. And so, Mike, what can we do to fortify ourselves better when it comes to being strong-willed? What are some things that drive you or that you've seen drive others, that you've coached others in? Because Mike has a True Man coaching program.
Oh, no, I got a good example. I want to use it. Oh man, this is like one of my favorite examples going on right now. So you brought up Michael Jordan, and I've said this to people. One of my favorite athletes to watch right now is Caitlin Clark from the University of Iowa. And she's one of the most incredible athletes in the world right now. All right. She's a senior in college, but she's one of the most incredible athletes in the world. Probably, she's probably the most amazing female basketball player I've ever witnessed in my life. And the other day, she played in a game and she had her 12th triple-double of her career. Now, that means she got double points, double. She got, I don't even remember how many rebounds she had. It was over 10 and over 10 assists. Why do I bring this up? Because, yeah, she scores a lot of points. Rebounding in the game of basketball is all heart. You got to be strong-willed to go grab a rebound. You got to want it. Assist, that means she's passing the ball and allowing her teammates to score. That means her strong will, her desire to win is creating better players around her. They have raised their game as a result of playing with her. Not only is she great on her own, just like Michael Jordan was, she has elevated everybody around her. And that's exactly what happened when Michael Jordan was at the Chicago Bulls. Yes, they had great players like Scottie Pippen and all that, but he elevated everybody's game around them. And so that will to win, that desire, that you know, you it's hard to explain, but you know what it is when you see it. And it you know, it comes out on the athletic field and on the courts probably more often than not, just because you can see it. But it also comes out in your offices across America or in your classrooms. You know a leader when you see it. And of course, there's the flip side of that too. We know when people are failing, but in this case, let's focus on the positive. You just know what it is. Some people innately have it. Now they have to work at it too. They're putting in the work. You know, Caitlin Clark is amazing, but just like Michael Jordan, we see the finished product on the floor. It's the hours and hours and hours spent, you know, behind the scenes, working out, shot after shot after shot after shot, and in the weight room. Those are the things that you don't see. And that's, you know, those are the little things that we all have to work on. You know, if you're going to be a great speaker, you're in front of the mirror hour after hour after hour working on a talk. You know, just doing a podcast. You know, how can I ask a better question? What is a better way to ask a powerful question? You know, so it requires a lot of work to be a good leader. Some people are born with certain things. I get that, but it still requires a lot of work to be completely well-rounded. There you go. There's my Caitlin Clark example, because she's amazing. Everybody go watch her play.
Excited to do that actually, sooner than later maybe. But you know, here's the thing on that. You know, Jim brought up criticism earlier. You know, and I'm going to go back to again, come back to a weightlifting. What Mike's referring to is the reps.
Yeah.
It's the reps you put in that are going to help you achieve your desired results. And when you're putting in rep after rep after rep, you know, in the case of business, or maybe you're a musician and you're trying to make it, you know, like the other day, EA, one of Mike and I's mentors, EA Solkovitz, he said, you know, he brought up the example of J.K. Rowling and how, you know, before she was a billionaire, she was broke. And I mean broke to the point, and I had forgotten this actually. I knew she had lived out of her car, but for some reason the fact didn't hit me. Her and her kids lived in her car. Tell me she didn't have to have a strong will on so many positions that built the strength that she is today to help others, because she has helped others. The strength that she is today was because she had the strong will to know that there was better on the other end of putting in the reps that it would take to go through that. Am I telling everybody to go live out of your car? No. No, by any means. It's do what it takes. Michael Jordan playing while it's sick. Caitlin Clark passing the ball when probably she could have shot it and made it, but maybe it was better to get the pass off. I don't know, because I obviously see the play. You know, maybe it's someone trying to learn how to sing, and Jim provides them some positive feedback because, yeah, they're doing karaoke, and maybe they're also wanting to do their own songwriting. Maybe it's someone, you know, I'm working with in leadership says, I can't do that. I can't speak very well in front of a group of people. Oh, you can. I promise you can. Are you willing, here's the word, will, strong-willed, to put in the reps that gets you there? Are you willing to do that? Anything out of success and greatness and winning is going to take sacrifice. And it's going to take strength. And think to anything you guys have done with representation of becoming great. Tell me criticism haven't come your way. And so many people It breaks my heart. I'll speak for both these two gentlemen as well. It breaks my heart to see they get a little bit of criticism and they quit. Because coming back to the original point, if we don't set the strength up here, build it through our hearts, you're going to quit. I'm going to be honest with you. You're going to quit. And next week, we're going to become a little more tasked with speaking more into the actual goal setting when we come back to focus. Because next week, we're going to be talking about how leaders are focused. The thing is, if you don't have this strength, if you don't make yourself strong-willed, if you're not asking for help, by the way, that is a strength. I want to let you know right now. There is strength in asking for help and asking for guidance, getting coached up, seeing what other people think, collecting constructive criticism and feedback, even the negative ones. I listened to it long enough to go, man, I don't want to listen to that. The thing is, it's that strength that you're going to build up overall through the reps that builds what will become the confidence and the courage you have to keep going. That's what it takes. Jim, final thoughts from you, and how do we get a hold of you?
I did unmute this time. I like the whole thing about being strong, really about being grounded is really key. And in conclusion, I think it's really important that, we really evaluate how strong we really are, in quotes, emotionally, so that we don't get tossed back and forth, but we have to have conviction and strength. We are not talking again about physical strength, but emotional strength to be able to really maintain and stand the test of time. So you can go to jimtchong.com. And again, I'm really excited about great things that are happening. I appreciate your leadership and taking this on, Chris, to really educate us about leadership each and every week. So thank you, Chris.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. It's a high compliment. By the way, you can connect with him at jimtchong.com.
That's correct.
Or zoomturtle.com.
Yeah, we never forget that one as well.
Which zoomturtle.com has the 5,200. I messed up my own number. It's got a lot of buttons, but when I say that, I say it respectfully. It's got a lot of resources.
Absolutely.
That can help build your strength in your business and what you're doing. Mike,
Yep.
Final thoughts from you, sir, and how do we get a hold of you?
Yeah, I would just say, and maybe this is what I was saying earlier, I guess, strong leaders should continually to work and develop on all of your skills. It never ends, always be working, always be practicing. It's almost Christmas. I almost said always be cobbling, but that's Saturday Night Live. I don't know. It's just the stuff that goes through my head sometimes. But always be working on your leadership skills. That's how you will continually improve. So you can get a hold of me at Mike. Send me an email at mike@truemanlifecoaching.com. And you can go out to my website at truemanlifecoaching.com, and you will also find the True Man podcast there, and you can connect to any major podcast channel by going out to my website and check out my podcast.
I highly, highly recommend you all do so, just as I was saying with checking out Jim's websites as well. And if you're in the, Jim, greater Sacramento area. Okay, good. He said yes. Man, look him up for
That's correct.
For the cookie show. I'm actually at some point in time, I will end up out there. I have not made that promise yet, Jim, but I will at least come out and for sure support the shows because I've seen some of it on his Facebook. They put on a good show. They really do. And I think they're branching into comedy. Did I say that too loud too soon?
Yeah, we actually have a comedy division now. And so we do comedy several times a month as well. And then we also have trivia, which we are incorporating into some new locations as well. That's correct.
Very good. Very good. And folks, here's the thing. Here's the reason why I brought that up for both these guys, where I highly recommend you go check it out. Not only are you getting a great podcast and great information, great knowledge, not only can you get some great coaching in that as well as a true man. Not only can you see a great comedy show or see a great karaoke show or be a part of quite a few different resources, what you are seeing is two gentlemen And I'll throw myself in this as well. I just didn't throw in the gentleman part. I don't know, bad dad joke. But what you are seeing is the culmination of what it means to be strong-willed. Notice I did not use the word. I didn't want to use it even now. None of us brought up the word stubborn because there's a difference. We're going to talk about that a little bit more when we talk about being focused next week.
Yeah.
Being strong-willed builds the strength, it builds the courage, it builds the confidence of the very things that God has called us to do.
Yes.
Having those roots builds upon what you were created to be and created to do. If you're struggling in any of that, reach out to one of us. Because believe me when I say, there are some very deep roots within all three of us in our own leadership journeys and the way we do things. And I know we can help you. As always, as I said earlier, hop on the show, connect with one of us, let us know. We'll get you the details on how to do it. We'd love to have you on and get your thoughts as well. As far as reaching out to me, Chris at eaglefireenrichment.com is my email. You can also find me on social media. You see my name on there, or just type in Chris Tice, with ice. It's the guy with the beard on the profile picture. I haven't seen any others. Not trademarked, so
Nice.
but I'm pretty sure that's it. Mike's catching up eventually. He's getting there. It looks
Not
good.
even-
It looks good. You don't shave it. I'm telling you now, you got to give it time. You got to be strong, Mike. There it is. But that said, folks, yes, strength is so much more than just a physical bravado, whether male or female, because I've seen it for both. It doesn't matter. It's what's inside. It's what brings out the outside. It's all the mental, the emotional, the physical, the spiritual that allows us to do the things we're supposed to do. So, think about these things. Think about the very things that you build upon, those reps that you're taking. If you've already taken them, get ready to do more. Get ready to do more. Because leaders are winners. Everybody, thank you so much for watching, whether you catch us on the replay via Facebook or you are catching it live. We are so grateful for you. Reach out to any one of us at any time. We'd love to be able to help you. Until next week, have your best day ever by making every day great. Remember, you can't never did. God bless us all.
Awesome.